Jared, in trying to understand the deep reason for religion, we can begin with some theological reasons, or we can begin sociologically and anthropologically. So let's talk about religion as a social organization. It obviously has developed. Why did it evolve?
The question why religion has evolved is offensive to believers in any religion, because they'll say, religion didn't evolve, religion is here because it's true. There is a God with the following properties. To get some perspective on that view, I find it useful to think, what would an extraterrestrial visitor to Earth from the Andromeda Nebula say? The extraterrestrial would arrive on Earth after having visited billions of stars, and here is this species on this one planet, on this one star, that has these weird views that it's uniquely important and that there is a supernatural being who created that weird species in its image. And the extraterrestrial would see that every human society has religion. The extraterrestrial, having studied sociobiology, would know that something like religion is not going to persist if it doesn't provide value, doesn't provide benefits to the society, because otherwise any atheistic society that evolved wouldn't waste all that time and effort and money in religion and would take over the world. Because
the religious society would have spent all this effort and ritual and organization and if it had no benefit, then that would be wasted, so they wouldn't have the power to resist the atheistic society, which hadn't wasted all their energies.
Exactly. The religious society would be spending 30% of its national product building cathedrals or supporting Tibetan monks, and would rapidly be pushed aside by the atheistic society that uses all its resources. So the extraterrestrial visitor would know that religion brings benefits. And the big question is, what are the benefits? Since religion is universal among human societies, what are the benefits that religion brings to human societies that causes religion to be almost ubiquitous?
Well, people who are believers would say the very ubiquity that you're talking about, that all human societies have religion, would indicate that it is something other than a cultural phenomenon. There's something deep within the human spirit, the human mind, that has this deep need and this deep calling that is pervasive, and that's the argument they use. So for you to say that it has social benefits, you have to have powerful arguments to counter that.
There certainly is something deep within the human mind that gives rise to religion, although that doesn't prove that religion is true. Humans are marked by high intelligence, and that gives us our power as a species. We constantly are asking questions, interpreting questions, so there's a rustle in the thicket. That rustle in the thicket, we ask, what's the cause of that? It might be a prey animal, or it might be a tiger. You got to figure out what the rustle means. Or we see a track in the grass, and we interpret that track to mean, oh, that means a deer ran that way, go after the deer. Or if it's a different track, it means a python, watch out for the python. So we humans have derived our power over other animals by our brains that constantly seek causes. But when you constantly seek causes, we're constantly seeking causes. When the wind blows, what's the cause of the wind blowing? When the sun rises, why does the sun rise? When someone dies, why does the person die? It's that constant search for cause that leads into what we would call today supernatural explanation. But among traditional societies like the New Guinea societies in which I work, there's no difference between natural and supernatural. It's all part of the constant search for cause, which I think was the foundations of religion hundreds of thousands of years ago.
And why that was successful, you're saying, is that the benefit of being able to assess causes and being sensitive to causes caused the people who had those better senses to survive more and pass on their own genes, because they were able to discern when it's a predator and when it's a prey. But that same capability then made them susceptible to look for cause in all other areas as well.
That's right. Our constant search for cause gave us advantages as a species in being better able to find food and better able to avoid predators. A byproduct of that constant search for cause was searching for too many causes, that's to say supernatural causes, that's to say religion. That alone wouldn't mean that religion brings benefits. It would simply say that religion might just be a byproduct of something that was useful to us, whether or not religion is of any use to us.
Okay, but now the next step is then religion useful to improve the vitality of the species and pass on the genes for those people who are more susceptible to it?
Religion I see as having at least half a dozen uses, whether or not it's true. And some of those uses have been with us for tens of thousands of years, and some are more recent. New uses of religion arose when the first governments, when the first human society with state government arose, and the first such king was 5,400 years ago in the Fertile Crescent. Okay, so you got this king. And the king is not working in the fields, but the king is eating food brought in by the commoners. Not just the king, but all the king's bureaucrats and soldiers and priests. So why on earth are the commoners bringing food into the king? The king is a kleptocrat. Well, every traditional society that we know of that developed kings, the kings always justify their existence by religion. They say, I, the king, am divine, I have a pipeline to the gods, I pray to the gods, and the result is that they will bring rain and they will bring fertility. And because I do all this good stuff for you, I'm busy full-time praying to the gods, so of course I can't go work in the field. You bring me food and you bring food to the bureaucrats. That's a new function of religion to justify the support of the political oligarchy.
Now that's cultural, that's not genetic.
Correct. Yeah, it's not genetic because it began only 5,400 years ago.
Sure. So is it important then to tease apart those aspects of religion which may have genetic predispositions from those that are purely cultural?
Once you have something that has a genetic predisposition, once you have a biological behavior or a biological organ that arises, it can change function. My favorite example is electric eels. The electric organ of electric eel didn't arise to electrocute horses, but it arose as a 1 millivolt thing to detect electric conductors in water and then to send out social signals. And eventually, if you get lots of those, you can get a 600-volt eel that can electrocute horses. Well, similarly with religion, religion arose tens of thousands of years ago for various reasons, including to provide explanations. But once you got religion, it can then start to do other things, which include when you got the first king, it can justify the first king, or when you get societies that are at war with neighboring societies, and you've started to get a social code that says thou shalt not kill, you need religion to say, aha, yes, you should kill, but under these circumstances when you are fighting these people who don't have the true religion.